Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am doing a test stream of StarSector. For this, I have already got through halfway into the game. I made quite a few too many saves. I have started a nation as New Britannia. So, I am very close to my home system, I believe. I've forgotten actually what my progress is here. Yes, actually. So here is my home system. As we can see, this is a very big game. I've actually started getting into it because it was put on a review by the YouTuber Sefzine Touch. And up until that point I'd never heard about the game. And now I'm playing it. It is probably one of the best games I've ever played so far. So much so, in fact, that I wanted to start streaming it or recording it at least a little bit, so that other people could sort of get through the same mistakes I'm doing, and hopefully make their time playing it a little less stressful. So, I'm only a little bit ahead. I've only put in maybe about 10 hours of play, so that might be a lot to some people, but in this game I estimate you probably need a few hundred to get somewhere. In the game itself I have set up 2 colonies, and under my particular faction I've created the Novus Britannia, New Britannia, featuring New London and New Manchester. New Manchester's a desert which doesn't have a lot going for it. As you can see, it's not doing very well. My fleet is a lot of junkers. I have a couple of cruisers, a missile cruiser, a light carrier, some destroyers, a lot of frigates, some shuttles, and then basically pirate salvage. What does this mean to you as the person watching the video? Not a lot. The way the game works is that it's easy to get ships, sort of. You can salvage them pretty quickly and pretty easily, but every ship you salvage will have what are denoted by these like little orange check marks. These are basically like their permanent damage. So for example, if I take a look at this ship under the refit screen, the Aesir, the Assault Destroyer, this ship would be great if it wasn't for the fact it had these 4 poor attributes, which are basically damaged attributes. So it's got degraded engines, which reduces its speed, which for this ship is actually quite bad because it's pretty slow already, and it makes it easier to spot, which is bad considering that I like to struggle a bit. Unreliable subsystems basically reduces how long it can actually stay in a battle before it starts doing pretty poorly. Combat readiness is a system in the game where it declines, the ship starts doing worse. It starts maybe encountering malfunctions, or it slows down, its gunneries starts getting less accurate, a variety of bad things. Compromised armor, well, as it says on the tin, ship can't take as much damage. And erratic fuel injector means that I can't go as far on the map without having to constantly stop and refuel. And a lot of my ships actually have these damaged attributes, so increased maintenance, erratic fuel injectors. These are not the best. Fortunately, I have leveled up a little bit, so if I go to my character here, Silas Flynn. So as you see, I have gone completely avoiding combat. I've decided to instead maximize my fleet and my campaign map and my colonies through leadership, technology, and industry. So for this one in particular, I started off with, I think it was emphasis here on the loadout design. This gives all your ships in your fleet maximum capacity to keep in combat, in my opinion. This is probably the first skill you should focus on getting in the game. Shortly after that, it's up to you. Do you want to try and make a focus more on a strong, powerful, individually powerful ship? Or like a small cadre of powerful ships run by your officers, who are also leveled up characters? Or in my case, just go through the scrapyard of many different ships. If you lose them, you can salvage them or just leave them. In general, I tend to chew out ships and then put them back in based on ones that I've stolen from other people. So there's a lot of skills. Don't want to get into all of them. It'll take a very, very long time. But as you can see, in general, I've tried to go for things which have benefited the whole fleet. Like here, fuel consumption, this one, range detection, colony, salvaging, repairs. In particular, what I would try and go for is loadout design and then these two, specifically safety procedures and field repairs. You see it on the last attributes on the level 3s, it has negative effects of lasting damage hull mods, D-mods reduced by 50% here, and here it also applies a maintenance cost reduction, because each poorly damaged ship reduces the maintenance cost by 20% for each point of damage. So if it's a four pieces of damage, that's a whopping, like, what, 80% damage reduction, pretty much. Or maintenance reduction, sorry. I don't think it works in such a way that it literally can make the ships not require maintenance if you have 5 of the damage slots, but I think it can halve it. So that's a pretty good usage for your supplies, especially if you're churning through these ships like I am. Have a few cadre of powerful, well-equipped ships, and then a lot of junkers that you just chew up and spit out. Try not to spit them out too much. I mean, they're not that easy to replace. Okay, so what happened as I was playing last time? I can't remember exactly, but I was cleaning out a pirate base, because my colonies here in the Bloss system in the Far Salish Nebula. This is the home of New Britannia. I had a pirate base come after me. And pirates raiding my planets. So, I went to New London. You can see, it's not exactly very stable. There's lots of unrest. It's losing money. Why? Pirate raids. Lots of pirate raids. Too many. Unfortunately, even with patrol HQs, I just don't have good enough fleets to fight the pirates automatically. I have to do that myself. This headset is doing my head. Okay, well, let's stay. Okay, so let us head back home and see if I can help clean up the pirates a bit. And also just this volume just a little bit. Up, 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 up. Okay, so as you can all see, the game map is massive. It's completely randomly generated. There is some degrees of things being the same. I believe the starting tutorial is sort of the same, as well as a number of systems. I believe they are sort of randomly dropped into the universe, but their composition is sort of the same. A bit like dropping in pre-made levels into a randomly generated map, as it were. But God knows, I've played only like a fraction of it. So, let's head home. What I can do is I can right click, and I'm laying in a course. However, if I unpause by pressing space, my fleet will just zoom home. But it's going to go straight through this deadly looking flashing cloud, which, if you see, is not going to be a good thing. First thing, I slow down, and then I don't get struck by lightning in the one time I want to get struck by lightning. Regardless, the clouds are a bad thing. If you impact them, they will damage your ships, which consumes supplies, which slows you down. If you get struck too many times, you can drain your entire fleet's worth of supplies. So what I'm going to try and do is avoid going through too many clouds, if I can help it. Of course, you don't... Yep, there we go, there's one. It pushes you around, bounces you off course, damages your ships. You can see my supply usage here in the bottom left shot up. Ship maintenance, ship repairs. Order the jump. Oh, I just did something I should not have. So, the first thing you might notice is that I took the main jump point, which happens to be at the point of the most magnetism, you could say, which happens to be a giant star. As you can see, my supply usage has shot up massively. Let's get the heck out of here. I am just doing all the problems today. Okay, so let's look at the map. Actually, I'm going to go the other way around, because the planets actually rotate. If a system is like a solar system, everything will rotate around it based on the settings of that solar system. So you can't, it won't come back and it'll be exactly the same. You can actually sit there and you can see the planets moving in a circle. Same with a variety of other structures, like this comm relay, for example. So let's go. So here is New Manchester, the desert world. Let's look at Manchester. So you can see Manchester only has food and people. Is this close enough to the real Manchester? I don't know. But on the planet itself, we have lots of unrest. We have a spaceport, tech mining, which is stripping out a set of ruins on this planet. What this will do is it will excavate random materials, metals, fuel, but most importantly weapons, blueprints, technologies of various kinds. That can make you a lot of money. I have maybe been a bit stupid here and put the tech mining before other things. I should have probably been focusing more on building the stability and security of the planet first, which I am doing now with the Patrol HQ, but a little bit too little too late, because it's currently -6 stability. It's losing me lots of money. Don't do what I've done here. One cool little trick with your planets is if you want to play like a pirate game, you can do Freeport. You can make your planets basically like a haven for everybody. Smuggling, tariffs, free, you know, perfect place for everybody to go. But Freeports have one problem, which is that it encourages neighboring factions who are law-abiding to clamp down on you. They will send expeditions to come around and sort of just like clean house. Or maybe they just get fed up and they just take it over or blow it up. I personally am not going for a pirate style game. I've had enough of the pirates, I've been killing them all game long, I'm tired of them. So I'm not going to encourage them. Besides, as you can see, it reduces my stability. I don't want to do that more, really. It's not in a good state. So, there are a variety of structures you can build. You have a variety of industries, and then structures. You can only have as many industries as a planet can allow you based on its size. So in this case I would need to increase the colony size by 1 to build one more industry. But in addition to that, I don't want to just plonk down any industry. Like here, for example, mining. You can see in the bottom right it shows production and demands and effects. But you can also see here under the colony conditions there is things like habitability. That's a good thing. It's a hot temperature. It's a bad thing. It's got extreme weather. It's a very bad thing. But it's got moderate ore deposits. So it's not got good or bad ore. Some planets have terrible ore. Some planets have great ore. That's why you want to try and look for ones that will maximize what you have. In this case, this planet has no real bonuses to anything except for the fact it has the widespread ruins, which are going to give me some very expensive blueprints, I hope, later on. So there are other things you could do. I could do the mining. Maybe I'll find a planet later on that's a bit better for this. Maybe. I could do it for light industry, some heavy industry. Heavy industry is good if I want to do things like building starships. In fact, you need it for building starships. If you want to start making your faction your own faction, and you just want to start building incredibly advanced and powerful starships later in the game, you have to go this route. Trying to buy them yourself or loot them from stolen enemies is a lot more difficult and will take you a lot longer than if you just built them. But building them will require a lot of investment and a lot of time as well. There's other things I could do, like fuel production. These are things in general which are not reliant on the planet's conditions. Farming, I can't do farming because there is no ability for agriculture here. And then there are structures. Structures are things which you can build regardless on the planet. There is no limit to them. The only difference is the upkeep. So in this case, for example, ground defenses is going to cost me base upkeep of 1000 or 1242 because the planet itself is a bit more hellish to live on. However, these things are good because, as you can see, it gives a +1 stability for ground defenses in the bottom right. Stability is a factor on your income. You see here, 0.2 stability. So at the moment, my income is pretty bad. If I build things like this Patrol HQ, it boosts my stability, which boosts my income, which can make up for the upkeep. Only so much, of course, but in general, it's a good thing. Likewise, also, pirates are everywhere. You sort of want to have these security structures. You don't like getting into situations like I have, where I am getting destroyed. So, let's move over to New London, which is not much better. And we can see the New London. Oh, there's my expenses. Even just like a banging noise. So, New London has the advantage of a couple of defense fleets through the police HQ. So we've got the fast picket fleet, which has 4 not very good ships. And this one, likewise, 4 very poor ships. I'm also building a space station, which will hopefully guarantee the planet's protection a little bit better. And it will also improve stability, which will be nice. So this world is a bit different. This is a Terran world. Terran worlds are probably a lot more habitable. In general, I mean, you might find a lot of negative attributes on them, but this is a good planet. It's habitable, it's got abundant organics, which is good for mining. It means I don't just extract like random ore, I now extract actually like fuels, or not fuels, but a version of organic materials which can be used for making other things. However, it will not produce any of this particular fuel which I need for scanning and other advanced industrial processes, which I'm not into yet. So it's not going to give me that, and it's not going to give me a lot of regular ore, but it will give me a lot of regular organic material, which is something useful still. It's good for export. It's got adequate farmland, so it can be used for growing crops. It's not good, but it's not bad. And it's got some ruins as well. Not a lot, but some. That's why I haven't focused on stripping this one out. Unfortunately for this planet, it's also had pirate attacks, but it's got more stability. I have succeeded in having the patrol HQ, and the station's nearly going to be built in about 16 days, which is good. Okay. So I came here to dump off some things. Specifically, I have a lot of iron, which I don't need. Iron is a very heavy and generally valueless component. Early game, any money you get is good, but in this case, for me, it is junk. In your case, try and hold on to it. Sell it later if you can. And what you can see down here is I've got a lot of this stuff. What is all this? What is this? Well, these are guns. Various different types of guns. There's so many guns, this game is absolutely filled with them. As you can see, there is a lot of guns, and I haven't even been playing that long. Now, I'm going to just dump these all in by holding control and click, left click, control, left click, bum, 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 bum. I do not want to carry a fleet full of guns. I don't need it. I'd rather have it on my planet to use it for my refitting. So, in this case, as you can see, there are some definite more powerful weapons. Plasma cannons, horse cannons. When you start the game, you'll be using things like... hell, I don't even have them anymore. Machine guns. Okay. And then what are these other things you're looking at? Well, the game has something here called supplies, which you notice here. It's also the same here. Supply usage is basically your ability for your fleet to keep repairing, keep restocking, and generally not fall apart. Every time ships get damaged, every time they go into combat, you use up supplies. In this case, I have an absolutely absurd amount of supplies. I believe, I'm sure some other people have far more. Then you have fuel. Fuel you don't use in systems. So if you're actually flying around with all the planets around you, you will not have to deal with fuel. But once you're in hyperspace and going between different solar systems, you start using fuel. That's what this red bar is. This is also a problem if your ships chug a lot of fuel. You won't be able to actually store enough fuel to get anywhere good without having to constantly refuel, or in some cases running out of fuel, and then you will slowly drift into a system. If you drift into a system, you can't get out again until somebody else rescues you, which they might never do. So always keep a good stock of fuel. Then we have crew. Crew are, as the name implies, they are people that work your ships. You have to have so many out of so many in order just to make your ships function at 100%. But you can then have more above that. In this case, this bar here, you can store extra people. This is, if people start getting killed off, at least you'll have some spares. It sounds so morbid. But also, for colonizing planets, you need 1,000 personnel. And you don't want to have a fleet, like something like mine here, which I'm running on like close to 1,500. If I then just dump off 1,000 people, and I need at least 1,500 people, my fleet's going to be understaffed. And a lot of ships will no longer function, they won't repair, and in combat my fleet will just get absolutely totaled. So always keep an eye on how much crew you have. In combat your ships might get destroyed or damaged, you might lose fighters, things like that will kill people. Keep an eye on that. Also, every crew member you have also will cost you a salary. So under here in your command, which is pressing D, you can go to income at the top and you can see you have a crew payroll. Each crew member is paid 10 credits monthly. That's a very poor salary, but for their life expectancy, yes. Then you have marine payroll, which I'll get to next, and your officers, which are basically like bonus characters you can have in your fleet. Officers are what I'm trying to go for, which is to emphasize I will put, for the specialized combat ships, officers instead. Rather than myself being the combat character, they will be my combat characters, as it were. As we can see, this is last month's figures. So it's saying my colony made a profit, but now if I take a look here, if I actually go look at the planet, the income is jumping all around the place. I don't know what's going on. It used to be minus, now it's positive. I don't know. I like the money. Money is good. Then we also have here doctrines and blueprints. I wouldn't worry about this too much at the moment. This is more when you start getting into the heavy industry later. You'll be able to start looking at your blueprints, customizing them, and start building your ships. So you can design how you want your fleets to go, that you have your NPC fleets for your faction, and then you can also do custom production if you want to build a specific kind of thing. If you want to build like your most advanced warships, you'll be doing it through here pretty much. I mean, you probably will find some in the game, like I found, or looted rather, this particular little ship, balance cruiser, but as you can see, I looted it. It's got compromised hull, structural damage, and increased maintenance. It's not the best thing. I'd much rather have got a ship without this kind of problems. Same with all the other ships, really. Like, buying ships is going to give you some problems. Unless you join a faction's military, which itself would be a problem for other reasons, but you will never be able to find true warships in the game unless you build them for your own faction. Or if you're okay with just using damaged ships like I am. Okay. So, I need to raise some money. As you can see, I am very poor. I've actually got less money than probably when you would roughly start off through the tutorial missions. I've just been hemorrhaging money for the past couple of hours playing this game. I cannot get things right. What other things we got before I head off? Marines. Marines are like crew. They can't be used to powered ships, but they can be used to board enemy ships in boarding actions, or they can be used to assault bases and planets. It's good, for example, if you want to raid something without destroying it or occupying it. I believe later in the game you can use it to completely take over worlds, but well, I'm not sure about that. Heavy machinery, you need this to perform a variety of different tasks, from salvaging to colonizing to surveying. You need heavy machinery. You don't need as much as I do, probably. In general, I'm keeping all of this just to sell it off. For a lot of functions, you don't need probably more than like maybe 100, 200. I believe colonizing a planet takes about 100. I wouldn't worry too much. These are the materials. This is for things like building satellites. Don't worry about that now. Volatiles is an advanced sensor material. In this case, what I use for like finding rare things in solar systems. Again, don't worry too much about it. And all this other stuff, these are fighter blueprints. So in this case, every squadron needs one of these devices, because they're like sort of like ammunition. If a squadron's destroyed, your ships will not just build another one. They have to have an LPC to build another one. Don't quote me on that though, I am not sure. I believe it might rebuild it, but I believe that these things are consumed when squadrons are lost. I hope so. If not, I've been hoarding these things for no particular reason. And lastly, these things are just blueprints. So like here I can research an astral carrier blueprint, which is such an advanced starship I don't even want to care. Light cruiser, pirate light cruiser. You can see next to the name it says the Falcon, and it's got in brackets the P. That means pirate. Likewise, if it's in brackets and it's D, it means the ship is damaged, or if it's got other letters for various things, it's various prefixes to make the ship have some sort of function. And then monitor. Doesn't matter. Okay. So, I want to raise some money. What can I do to raise money? I could go off on a trading run, dump some materials somewhere. I could raid somewhere. I'd say blueprint package. When did I get that? A couple of mana forges and superton cores and blah 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 blah. Okay, let's take some supplies. Fuel. Okie doke. So, you have a variety of ways of making money. The game punishes you for trading though, so don't bother trying to play it like a trader like you would in the X games. The game gives you a 30% tariff on all transactions, so you'll never turn a profit. Instead, you have to do black market trading to do that. But another option is to do contracts. So in this case, let's say I recently completed a bounty. I got 151,000 for killing a deserter. This guy's fleet was quite ex-military, quite tough. That's how I got a couple of my ships off him. And this was the pirate base that I blew up earlier. These are two I don't need anymore, so I can untick the little important icon. However, let's say I want to get some more money. So let's take a look. I can click bounties and let's see. In general, I'm here, your little flashing star icon, and then if we look around, see all these little faces. So these are where all these bounties are. We've got a couple of guys here. I've already completed him. I wish that would go away. Unfortunately it won't. So I've got a pirate base up here that gives me 140,000. Another one here, 90,000. Ooh, 1 day remaining. 53 days, 91 days. Ludic Path base, 140,000. Ludic Path, basically religious zealots. Horrible to fight. Those guys have like suicide bombing ships, all manner of horrible stuff. I hated it in the couple of battles I had with them. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. In this case, let's go and blow up pirate base. Besides, I don't like the idea of it being so close to my home system. That's probably how the pirates keep getting to me. So let's see. I click on this, and in the Garg and Eron star system, which is this little red star. So I can right click it, and then let's head out. So my fleet will automatically start heading there, but it's going to go in a straight line. It's not going to be intelligent enough to do things like steer around enemy fleets, or warp storms, or stars. It's going to literally fly through a star. You have to pay a little bit of attention to what's going on. But in general, it's going to keep going in its own direction. You might notice here I have also this little thing, sustained burn. Ooh, you see here, for example, I want to fly me straight through the cloud. I don't want to do that. I want to go around the cloud. So I can click there, just left click. Sustained burn is basically travel mode. It increases your speed by double, but also doubles the range at which people can detect you. So if you're trying to sneak around, don't do it. Seriously. Likewise, there's another little button here, which you might not notice a lot. It's Transponders. This is basically me broadcasting if my ship is being able to be seen by other people, if I'm telling them what I am. As you can see, it massively increases the range at which you can be detected. Don't bother doing it if you're traveling around regular space. Do it when you enter faction space. One thing you might notice is if I engage sustained burn, my fuel usage skyrockets. Look at that, 65 a day. Bang, it's just draining out like a water faucet. Okay. Oh, and I got clipped by the storm. However, the fuel usage is not less efficient, it's just more incremental. So if you would go this fast normally, you can go that fast. You're using the same amount of fuel, accomplishing the same task anyway. Okay, I'm not going to go on top of a star this time. I'm not a moron. Instead, we've got a couple of choices. We have... Ooh. It's the same system. It's got 2 stars inside, a red dwarf and a white dwarf. Then it has a couple of jump points. So we've got the inner jump point. Every system has one. And the fringe jump point. Every system should also have one of these as well. This is basically the closest one to the stars and the furthest away from everything. In general, the inner system jump points tend to be the busiest. Good for if you just want to find someone to fight or whatever. Fringe is good if you want to stay away and just scout. And then we have these nascent gravity wells. These you can't use unless you have a special ability here, Transverse Jump. This allows you to jump into hyperspace at any place you want, and likewise enter these transverse little holes in the ground. You can use that skill by here, navigation. Navigation is a good one to get, in my opinion. Fuel consumption, transverse jumping, burn speed, terrain penalty reductions. These are all very general things, which, in my opinion, I'm a impatient person, so I went for this one quite quickly. Up to you how if you have the patience. So I'm gonna go kill pirate base. Let's see how this goes. So first off, I want to jump into the system going dark. This doesn't affect my ability to scan people, but it affects their ability to see me. So I'll go dark and I'll enter the system. If I didn't do this, if there were pirates there, they would see me straight away. Look at that, I've got a nav buoy. Okay, so if I press tab, we can see. So they own a makeshift sensor array, a nav buoy, and these are a couple of fleets flying around here already. As you can see, they're unidentified because they are putting out their transponder signals. If I was doing that, they would have picked me up straight away and be coming in straight to kill me. burn level for all system fleets. Okay. Now if I look at my intel, it doesn't say where it might be in the system. Sometimes these bounties will say something like, he's rumored out to be near a volcanic world or something. In this case, this is location unknown, but this system only has like 2 planets, so, I mean, not the end of the world. So, this little nav buoy I want to capture. It gives my fleet a speed bonus, which will give me an ability to catch them, whereas if they have it, they have an ability to run away or to catch me. I don't want either of that to happen. So, let's take control of the buoy. An active war. Well, been at war with them for a while. Okay, it is now for mine, and I now have a speed bonus. Haha. I could go for sensor range, but I think let's just go directly to them. Oh, they're coming straight for me. Let's get them. And he did emergency burn, and I got him just So, what he did then was emergency burn, which reduced his combat readiness. That's why you see like all my ships have just their icons, but his ships have these little health bars underneath them. So he has, by just trying to run away, he's already impacted his ability to fight, just a little bit. In this case, in his fleet, he's got a couple of these gigantic, chunky, modified freighters. These things are annoying to destroy. They are not difficult to fight, but they are tough. They have a lot of hull and a lot of guns. And then he has a lot of other stuff, like a couple of frigates, these combat freighters, which are, as you would expect, you know, they're not very good. Pirates are not the best fighters, but they can still give you a bloody nose, so don't credit them too badly. So, let's open a comlink. Makes a rude gesture and laughs before getting the transmission. Oh, how rude. I think I need to blow them up. So, continue, and let's just move into engage. In this case, you get a couple of extra options. I could transfer command, which means I could take this. I'm currently on this ship. I could instead move it to, say, any other ship in the fleet. This is good if you have a strong combat character and you want to play in a certain way for each mission. Say if it was a smaller engagement, you want to just use a frigate, you don't need to drag in a missile cruiser or carrier, and your combat character is very good, you could do it this way. So we'll continue, and now we're in sort of like a tactical map. I can choose what ships I want to bring in. Each ship will cost me supplies, which in this case I have about 1,000, so I'm still okay for that. But you don't want to go burning through all your supplies. You don't need to put all your ships into every battle every time. However, in this case, there are a couple of chunky ships. I need to bring some bigger bad boys, I think. I would like to bring my carrier. There's a lot of smaller ships as well, so I'm going to bring all my little frigates. Maybe a couple of the pirate ships. Shuttles are good for intercepting people, not very good for much else. Don't worry too much. So I picked this. I pretty much picked all my combat ships. I got a couple of tankers. I don't want to ever put these guys in combat. Salvage rig doesn't have guns. Drone tenders. The ship itself is not a combat ship. Civilian transports. You know, these are things you don't want to fight with unless you absolutely have to. So we'll deploy. And now we get a little tactical map. We can see our ships are all coming in. The game works a bit where you have your own ship that you can pilot, and then all the other ships in the fleet do their own thing. You can issue them orders, and you can issue so many orders. So like here I can issue up to 5 orders, but if I issue one order, I can issue multiple at the same time. But this prevents me from like micromanaging. I can't tell every ship to go everywhere all the time in the battle. I'll just run out of command points, and then that's it. In this case, I don't want to fly my own ship because it is far too slow, and I'm not going to be able to see much that way. So I'll click my ship, which is down here, and click toggle autopilot, or just press U. That'll make him function like a regular AI starship. So press space and we'll see everybody's jumping in now. You can see the ships are launching the little fighters and they're encountering the enemy. So as you can see, not much is happening just yet. I could pick a few targets I would guarantee I want to kill, but let's say I want to destroy these two ships. I don't want them anymore. I could likewise just coat the entire thing. So I could click each ship and click C for eliminate, fighter strikes. Let's say instead engage. So you see here I'm using multiple orders in one go, but I'm only using one command point. That's because I have my command frequency open. During this time, this bar will go down, and during that time I can issue as many orders as I want. Once it's out, however, any orders I issue will use another command point. So let's just put engage on everybody, but eliminate on these particular ships. So if I want to see what's going on in the battle, then I can click somewhere like this ship, and I can click F to go show video feed. Now you can see this poor little pirate ship has got completely toasted. This one is also getting toasted. Ooh, what are these? It's like little fighter craft. Pirate ships don't have shields. A lot of them are just converted freighters which have like a gigantic guns strapped to them, but not shields. So your ships will just chew through them. But don't let the pirates get too upper hand on you, because their guns can still hurt. In this case, they're just throwing their fire squadrons at me. So I'll do tab, and let's see a bigger fight. Let's see like this one. Oh, a destroyer versus a destroyer. He's overloaded his systems, and now the ship can't do anything, which means he's just getting pelted with shells, and bang, he's gone. A couple of fighters harassing, but they're just getting taken out. Bang. What about this one? Oh, here are the combat freighters. So here they are. As you can see, like over here, combat freighters are tough little nuggets. They are not easily destroyed, but they aren't actually very good in terms of what they actually do. Like, this little frigate is honestly taking to task the combat freighter. And now this guy's coming to have a go. Bang, bang, bang. Bang! In this case, my missile carrier, or missile cruiser, has a lot of armor-piercing missiles, so it just shoots straight through the ship. This one's a little combat freighter, I believe. Okay, how's the situation going? So we've got a little frigate engagements aside. They're trying to get out. They see in the top right, there's a little button called Clean Disengage. And on this, basically it means that the enemy is trying to disengage. The more you destroy the enemy ships, the more points they get that lets them eventually retreat. So every fight, eventually you can get to a point where the enemy just can't retreat. They have to die. This prevents you any of these scenarios where you'll just have a ship that will run away every time. So he's probably going to try and run away. He looks like he's trying to run away, definitely. This guy's going to be toasted. Yeah, look at that. He's just completely dead in the water. He's getting picked to pieces. And bang, he's gone. So you might notice next that there's like, in the top left it says ships are being disabled. Some ships got destroyed. You can see like this ship is torn in half. this ship is actually just a gigantic chunk. Basically, the more you completely obliterate your opponents, the less loot you might have at the end of a fight. Also, you can't salvage a ship to put in your fleet if you've blown the thing in half. So sometimes if you want to capture stuff, don't hit it with too hard of weaponry. But in general, like, that's going to be an issue if you have a massive fleet. Everybody's dead. Mission accomplished. So, what does the enemy have left? Well, we took out all their ships. All they have left are a couple of tankers. Yeah, they didn't want to put that in combat. However, I want to put them in combat. I want their tankers. So let's pursue them. There is a third option, harry their retreat. This one basically makes it so that they will suffer the actions of if they were in combat without actually putting them in combat. Which is good if you're fighting quite a large fleet that you don't want to fight at full strength. You want to chase them down a bit and then fight them. But personally, if you already are more powerful than them, there's no point doing this in my opinion. You just want to destroy them. So we'll do pursue. And in this case, they're just a couple of tankers. I don't even need to watch this fight. It would be a complete slaughter. I can do order my second in command. And let's just like throw a couple of frigates and a shuttle at it. Bang. No enemy ships managed to escape. So here it's saying Salvage Chief reports that several ships have been disabled or destroyed during the battle. So in this case we can recover the ship, so consider ship recovery. What did we get? So we got a combat freighter. If I press F1 I can see the set stats of it. What I'm looking for is on the right. Under defense, there should be some values for shields. This ship does not have shields. Therefore, this ship will explode incredibly quickly if I put this into the field. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to salvage this one. This next one, a smuggler combat freighter, does have shields. But it also has 4 faulty things at the bottom. It's got an increased maintenance cost, a glitch sensor array, erratic fuel injector, and a faulty power grid. In general, as you can see, it's practically double the maintenance cost, and everything else is just rubbish. I don't need another junker. I want to break this down and get some supplies and materials out of it. So press F1 again, and we'll just cancel. But if I wanted to, I could click the ship, and it would use up some supplies to repair it, and take some of my crew to man the ship, obviously, but I'm not interested. I'll just click cancel, and if I want to skip it, I can just click continue, and get some money. Pirates hate me. Nothing there to really worry about. And now we have the salvage. So we have some glorious supplies. Om nom nom. Fuel. Love that. We have a fighter blueprint. So I can just click control and left click. We've got a harpoon missile launcher. A devastator cannon. A flak cannon. An assault chain gun. Thumper, which is quite a common little mortar style weapon. Light assault guns, which are basically machine guns on Starship. Vulcan cannons, and an annihilated rocket launcher. Nothing particularly amazing. What are these last two? Machinery and metals. Oh, let's keep. I can sell it. So now we're sort of drifting around. We can see there's another little thing here. Combat freighter, it's adrift. Let's just salvage it. Explore. Can I? Oh, I can salvage it. Is it good? No. It's called a shielded combat freighter, but it is not shielded. I do not want it. It has a shielded cargo hold. That's not very handy if it's going to get shot at. It also is. It's got an okay cargo capacity, but I don't need a ship like this, which is just going to add to my problems. Let's break him down. I have all the heavy machinery are allowed. I have enough crew. I have a salvaging rig and a couple other ships. So I actually get a little bit of bonus to this. And again, let's just take all. Next up, you'll notice there's a little debris field floating around here. Oh, another little fleet there, a little chunky fleet. I can break this down if I click scavenge. After every big combat, you'll generally create a field of debris that you can scavenge for extra loot. There's nothing to really worry about in this case, just you can scavenge it maybe once or twice. Keep looking to see if it eventually goes down in terms of this here. It says like it's likely to find loot, the risk is low, so it's fine. I click assess. Ooh, what is this? A gigantic, looks like a crushed tin can. So consider ship recovery, paramodified freighter. It's a tough little ship, or tough massive ship rather, but I do not need a slow, bulky waste of space. I just don't. I'd rather break it down. My salvaging effectiveness here is less though because the debris field is not as big. I mean, it's not... I haven't blown up a lot of ships here. So, I got a lot of stuff though. More supplies and fuel are always good to have. Can go for days of supplies. We'll take that. And then we'll do the scavenge again. And as you see, it's still likely to find stuff, but now the risk is significant. And basically, the rewards will decrease whilst the risk will go up every time you do this. So do it maybe twice. The more your skill in scavenging, the more you can try and pull this off. It's like the debris field is halved. Salvage. For machinery, I have lost, unfortunately. Sometimes you'll lose crew as well. I got some more supplies, take all. I'm gonna not push my luck. Let's press F5 to quick save. Because I see a big floating red disc here. That looks so ominous, does it not? Volcanic world of a pirate base. Let's go say hello. So, he will not let me dock. Because I have destroyed his guard fleet, basically. 2 months till the pressure goes down. Well, it's a good thing I don't intend to trade here. I have no interest in hiring anybody. Let's bomb it. So, normally there's a defense fleet here. You see, you got my fleet, and then you got the space dock, and where its fleet should be. I just blew up its fleet, so it doesn't have one. I can engage the orbital station, or I can launch a raid against it. Raiding is to steal supplies, and engaging it is basically going to blow it to pieces. I think I'd like to steal some stuff first, and then maybe blow it up. I could also orbital bombard it, but the station itself is functioning, so orbital bombardment doesn't work. This is more of a function if you were fighting a planet, really. You can blow up the station in orbit and then bombard the planet. Whereas this is an actual, just a station. Blowing it up will blow it up. It'll be gone. So let's launch a raid. Let's see. So I have a lot of Marines. I have pretty good capacity. I also have a double or 50% bonus thanks to my skills. Whereas they have not a lot of defense, not a lot of much. So 83%. And you got two options here. You got like a theft kind of option, and the other is more like a military option. In this case, I'm just going to try and take. Let's see what I can grab from the pirates. That in several warehouses now are most likely to yield valuable items, including fuel, food, biological components, supplies, and consumer goods. I'll also steal around. Oh wait, there's another corner. Okay. That's not a lot, but money is money. Has a military presence, obtain some ship weapons and mod specs. I am more than happy to get more loot. So let's launch the raid. So they suffer some casualties. A very nice Starship Troopers style scene here. I reduced their stability, just like they did to me. Raid was successful, and I gained some money. What did I get? Pick through the spoils. Oops, I stole some drugs. What is this? Makeshift shield generator. Stole some makeshift and the shield generator to forward facing position. So I now have the capacity to turn some shieldless ships into shielded ships, but very badly shielded ships. So why would I just? I suppose if I was desperate, it would be at least good to have. I can just right click and learn it to save me later. So let's take all this. Bang. Let's do that again. Oh, I can't do it again. within a day or so. Hmm. Yeah, let's do that. I need to recover a bit of combat effectiveness anyway, as you can see by here. My fleet-wide combat readiness still needs to be recovered a bit. But, okay, can I do it again? No. Oop. He's like maintaining contact, so he's maintaining contact is when they know you're there and they want to make sure they keep you in vision. They don't want to lose you. Good. Usually they're calling reinforcements at that point. LS5 heavy machinery. Grab some more stuff. Okay. Let's try again. Consider and launch a raid. Let's try to acquire the valuables. Oh, you'll notice that every time I raid them, their stability goes down, so the defenses go down, which makes it easier to steal it constantly. Watch the raid. Money. Ooh, I got a lot of fuel. I'll take that. Some more drugs. Organics. I think this is like oils and things like that. General industrial goods. Accelerated shields, mod specs, and fire blueprints. Just take all of it. Okie doke. Okay, I'm not going to raid anymore. Or could I? Let's see. Stability is going down and down. It's got a military base too. I think I'll raid it one more time. Let's push my luck. I mean, this guy's not going to be going anywhere. I can go dark. He doesn't see me anymore. You can see a little circle. He can't see me. Okay, and let's try again. Launch a raid. Now its defenses are just falling apart. Let's try it again. I could just restock all my fuel. Okay. More of these blueprints. Oh wait, why can't I learn it? I'm right clicking. Nah, whatever. Let's take you all. Okay. As we can see now, the colony's starting to get a little bit frantic. You might notice now you can see that we're rotating around the planet, just like the planet is rotating around the star. I'm not moving my fleet, it's moving with the rotation. Pretty cool. So let's try it again. Launch the raid. Pretty much now, at 0 stability, half of the military will be half as effective. So I can do it again. I want this. I want this. Ugh. Or I could just sit here all day and restock my entire fuel. Okay, so I pushed my luck enough. I want to blow the thing up now. Let's engage the station. Now, stations, even the pirate stations, are chunky things. They're pretty tough. You want a lot of guns. So in this case, I don't think I need all of them, especially not the fighters or anything like that. I don't need these. Yeah, this should be enough. Let's deploy. I'm gonna put him into autopilot again. I wish this was a setting in the game that just let me make him automatically an autopilot, so I don't have to worry about it. We can see some little red dots. That means that it's got some fighter support. I wish I could actually go and look over the thing, but we can see here it's a low-tech model orbital station, heavy firepower, heavy armor, moderate firepower. It's basically a giant disc covered in guns, with a lot of hull and armor, but not much else. I want to kill it. Oh, I accidentally created a little assignment there. So let's see, we've got some fighters, and oh, he's already shooting at us. Let's kill these fighters, come on guys. Oh wow, this frigate is getting toasted. Look at that, that station is a nightmare. Oh, actually, if I look at it closely, look at that. It only has all the guns on one side, which means it's most dangerous in this particular angle. But the station's constantly rotating. However, it has no shields. Well, it did. It used to have shields. Yeah, we are just disabling its guns, we're just piling in. This place is toast. I saw my ship next to I thought he was going to explode into little tiny pieces. So we got some money, pick through the wreckage, we got a lot of junk. So I'm going to take bang, bang, bang. We have a lot of guns. In general, my attitude to this is to take the guns first and then to take them back home to a planet and then do the refits there. Look at what you have, sell what you don't like. Things like light assault guns, Vulcan cannons, these things are a bit more junky, but they can be sold for a bit. I can only store so much stuff. I don't need all this metal. There we go. So, oh, you can see on the left here, I got my bounty, I got my reputation, my officers leveled up, I have leveled up, everybody's leveled up, we all leveled up. Leave. Bang. Goes the station. But now I created another debris field, so let's salvage it. Oh, well no I did not. The debris did not get added to the debris field. Okay, well, I have now resolved some of my financial shortage. I have leveled up a little bit. I have 3 character points to spend. If I want to level up my officers, I can click on them. But also I don't want to level them up because I don't want them to be more expensive yet. I would like to get a maximum amount of officers once I have a nice system of colonies to fund my monthly expenses in which to pay my officers to have a very powerful fleet. Fortunately for myself, you don't pay yourself a salary, so you can level up as much as you want. So, that's a little introduction to the game. With my extra money, I'm going to go back to my colonies later on. I'm going to build more things. As we can see, now the orbital station's been built in orbit of the planet, so its stability can recover a bit now. I've been blowing up the pirate stations, so they should be leaving me alone a bit more. Pirates will always keep coming back until you have an established military or patrol presence. I have enough money now to maybe invest in something. I could get mining. In this case, let's see, like I could get extra. You see the mining here gives me a bit of volatiles and organics, which is always good. Yeah, probably mining is going to be the next one I'd pick. Okay, so I hope that was a good little introduction to the game. I'll be hopefully playing this a bit more in the future. Once I get better at it, I will probably start a new game on normal difficulty. And I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to try a combat-focused character or stick with my fleet strategy so far. Probably everybody else who's played this game is watching this and just cringing at how I do the fleet battles. They're probably used to flying as a frigate with supercharged lasers or whatever. But still, this was a good little introduction. I hope it helped you a little bit. And peace out, guys. See you around.